Today, I want to talk about one of the most overlooked yet critical decisions in your estate plan, and that's who you should choose as your successor trustee. The person you select will literally hold your financial future and your family's inheritance in their hands. Hi, I'm Chuck Roulette. I'm an estate and elder law planning attorney with nearly 30 years of experience licensed in both Minnesota and in Florida. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to help you understand this crucial role and how to make the right choice for your situation. But before we begin, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button so you'll be notified when I post new videos like this one. If you have a question, post it in the comments below and I may answer it in an upcoming video. And if you stay until the end, I'll share some resources where you can discover more. So first, let's clarify what a successor trustee actually does, because many people drastically underestimate these responsibilities. Now, if you were to become incapacitated, your successor trustee steps in and manages all of your trust assets and investments. They pay your bills and handle your finances. They make distributions for your care. They file annual tax returns. And after you pass away, your successor trustee will be responsible for gathering and valuing all of your trust assets, paying final bills, debts, and taxes, selling your home or other assets if necessary, and then distributing those assets according to your instructions. So let me be clear. This is essentially taking on a part-time job that requires significant time, knowledge, and emotional resilience. So now that you know what a successor trustee does, let's discuss who you may consider choosing. When choosing a successor trustee, you typically have three main options. The first is one or more of your adult children. 2, other trusted family members or friends. Or 3, professional trustees like banks or trust companies. And each option has distinct advantages and disadvantages. So let's look at them one by one. So the first option is one or more of your adult children. For many people, adult children are the natural first choice. This makes sense on many levels. So let's first talk about the advantages of choosing one or more of your kids. They know you and your values well. They typically serve without charging fees. They're usually more accessible than institutions, and they understand your family's unique needs. But there are also drawbacks that you should consider. First, even in harmonious families, money matters can create tension. Second, most people aren't familiar with trust administration or tax laws. Third, trust administration can be time-consuming. 4, your children may be grieving while trying to handle complex tasks, and they could be personally liable for mistakes. I once provided guidance to 3 siblings whose mother named the eldest son as trustee. Now, despite his best intentions, his sister believed he was favoring himself. Unfortunately, the resulting legal battle depleted nearly 30% of the trust assets and permanently damaged their relationships. I've also assisted several trustees who, despite doing everything by the book, still had significant issues with a sibling or a sibling spouse because they didn't understand what was involved in administering an estate. In fact, at one point, I had to explain to one of the family members that if they thought they'd receive their inheritance check at the funeral, that wasn't how administering an estate worked. The second option to consider is other family or friends. Now, sometimes adult children aren't available or the appropriate choice. In these cases, many turn to other relatives or close friends. Now, the advantages include they have personal knowledge of your values. They can be potentially more objective than children might be. They may potentially have relevant professional experience, and again, they're usually lower cost than a professional trustee. But you also need to consider these challenges. They have their own lives, families, and priorities. Serving as a trustee can strain relationships. If you choose someone your age, they might develop health issues when you do and be unavailable or unwilling to take on the job. They may still lack specialized knowledge. So if you go this route, always confirm their willingness to serve and make sure you name multiple backups. Now, the third option is professional trustees. For some situations, a professional trustee like a bank trust department or trust company might be the best solution. Now, the advantages of this approach include they have expertise and daily experience with trust administration, objectivity and neutrality when dealing with family members, institutional continuity, they don't die or become disabled. There's regulatory oversight and insurance for professional trustees. You also have professional investment management. However, you also need to be aware of the significant drawbacks. They typically charge 1% to 2% of assets annually. The service can feel impersonal with high client to officer ratios. Many professional trustees prefer managing only marketable securities and may be reluctant or even refuse to deal with real estate or personal property. Since they're paid on assets under management, may have a financial incentive to retain rather than distribute trust assets. They often charge additional fees for selling homes or distributing personal belongings. I've seen cases where banks hired third-party services for selling family homes and distributing belongings, resulting in thousands in additional costs, while family heirlooms were treated as mere assets to be liquidated. Now, you may also want to consider co-trustees or a hybrid approach. Now, one solution that works well for many families is naming co-trustees who serve simultaneously. This can provide some checks and balances. So common combinations might include multiple children together, perhaps one child plus a trusted friend or a professional, maybe a family member plus a friend or a trusted professional. For example, one of my clients named his son and daughter as co-trustees, with our firm as acting as what's called a trust protector. His kids were able to split up the workload and take on the duties that each of them were most comfortable with. And we were there to provide legal guidance as well as act as a tiebreaker between the kids if needed. And this combination worked exceptionally well. Your trust should also specify how decisions are to be made, whether unanimously, by majority vote, or with different trustees having authority over different matters. For blended families with a current spouse and children from previous marriages, trustee selection becomes even more critical. In these situations, you may want to consider an independent professional trustee for neutrality, or perhaps co-trustees representing different family interests. You might also want to make sure to include a trust protector to provide oversight or to replace trustees if needed. Now, if you would like to learn more about trust protectors and why you should include them in your trust, make sure to check out my video discussing them. And no matter who you choose as a trustee, always include provisions allowing for trustee removal if circumstances change or if your chosen trustee isn't performing adequately. Choosing the right successor trustee is one of the most important estate planning decisions you'll make. The right choice provides peace of mind knowing your wishes will be honored and your loved ones are cared for. And at our firm, we've guided thousands of clients through this crucial decision. We understand the nuances of trustee selection and can help you create the right structure for your unique situation. So whether you're creating a new trust or reviewing and updating an existing one, your trustee selection deserves careful consideration with professional guidance. If you would like to discover more or to schedule a consultation to discuss your own planning, visit us at roulettelaw.com. And if you would like to discover more, join us in my upcoming masterclass where I'm going to reveal strategies I use with my private clients and their families to help them avoid probate, save on taxes, protect the money they leave for their kids in the event they get divorced, and much more. And you can click on the link in the description below to sign up. I hope you found this video helpful, and I look forward to seeing you in either an upcoming video or the masterclass. Be well.